What if Padme turned to the dark side after Revenge of the Sith? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Padme watches Obi-Wan hold out her children, but feels her strength fading. The weight of the last few days crashes onto her as she feels the wave of hopelessness and despair washing across her. The Republic, everything she's fought for, is now gone. Even Anakin isn't here anymore. Part of her wants to slip away forever and allow the darkness to consume her, even as she knows she still has her children to care for. But something else begins to flicker inside of her and causes her to stir. It isn't hope or duty. It's the fires of revenge. Not just for Palpatine. She thinks of Anakin and how he'd allowed all of this to happen. He had supported this and turned his back on her, even hurt her. She can never trust him again, certainly not with their children. No, he has to be stopped too. Slowly, she opens her eyes and looks at Obi-Wan. Given her position, it would be incredibly dangerous for her to keep her children in Coruscant. Instead, she suggests Obi-Wan keep them for the time being. The Senate is surprised to see her alive, as Palpatine had claimed she was killed by the Jedi. But Padme refuses to elaborate, simply stating that nothing will stop her from fulfilling her duties. The threat is not lost on the Emperor, but Padme begins taking steps to secure her position. Padme remains a popular member of the Senate, and she strengthens her position by framing herself as a hero. Although she doesn't like dragging the Jedi's name through the mud, she pushes through with Palpatine's story, and many citizens sympathize with her, making it more difficult to get rid of her without arousing suspicion. She also gets an unexpected protector in the form of Darth Vader. The Dark Lord is sure to shield her from most attacks, ensuring that no one gives Padme trouble. Part of this is his lingering love for her, but another is to figure out where his children are. On both counts, he is bitterly disappointed, as Padme rejects his advances and refuses to reveal where they are. After everything he's done, she has no intention of letting him near them and intends to keep them as far away from him as possible. Meanwhile, Padme focuses her efforts on combating the Emperor. With Palpatine trying to consolidate power, she uses what little influence she can to challenge him at every step. Senators like Bail Organa and Ryo Chuchi offer their support. With Padme as their face, they have some limited success, but it's clear Palpatine has stacked the Senate in his favor. Padme's frustration only grows as she finds herself unable to combat him on major issues. Despite her best efforts, she finds herself eventually sidelined. After one particularly busy and exhausting day in the Senate, Padme is eager to head home and relax. She navigates the busy streets, trying to make her way back to her apartment. But as she turns a corner, she spots 3 Weequay sitting in the shadows. She avoids eye contact with them and prepares to walk off, but one of them calls out to her. She tries to brush past them, her hand reaching for the blaster in her pocket.
I'm no easy target. Move.
The thug leader smirks, but before he can respond, Padme pulls her blaster and fires. The first thug staggers back, stunned but not down. The second grabs her arm, twisting the weapon from her grip, and she gasps but fights back, landing a swift kick to his knee. The third thug slams her against the alley wall, pinning her with brute strength as she struggles. She tries to headbutt him, but the thug pulls out a knife and holds it against her throat. Little does she know that the Chancellor has decided her usefulness has come to an end. With her position as a hero now fading from public memory, he can now try getting rid of her. Then, out of nowhere, a blaster rings out and takes the thug down. His knife falls from his hands, but the new arrival plucks it from midair. Mind if I join? He strikes with lethal speed, plunging his vibroblade into the first thug's side, twisting sharply before pushing him aside. Another thug lunges at him, but Dryden sidesteps, parrying with fluid precision and elbowing him hard in the ribs. Padme, regaining her stance, seizes the moment. She grabs her blaster off the ground and fires, hitting the final thug.
Apologies for the secrecy, but I suspect this is a meeting you'd want to keep from the Emperor's eyes.
Did Palpatine send you? Is this how he rewards loyalty now?
Quite the contrary. I'm here to protect you, and to offer you a business deal that you'll find quite interesting.
He takes out a holodisc, activating it. The hologram materializes into Maul, seated atop his throne with a smug grin.
Senator Amidala, your reputation precedes you.
As does yours. Few can match the blood on your hands. No. What is it you want?
Oh, it's not what I want that we're discussing, but what you want. I sense your anger, your desire for revenge. Even from this hologram, it burns bright. We share a common enemy, Palpatine. He betrayed you, just as he betrayed me.
Perhaps. But what makes you think I need your help, Maul? From what I've heard, you've already lost.
Boldly spoken, and true enough. I have not fared well against my former master, but I know my position. You, though, do not even realize you are already defeated. You lost the moment you set foot on the Senate floor. That is where Palpatine is at his strongest, and you face him there. No. To overcome the Emperor requires you not act like a senator, but something a bit different.
A Sith?
Palpatine's power is the fire that consumes all in its path. We must be the smoke, the shadow. We strike from within his empire, undetected. Strike from the shadows. Be prepared to backstab and deceive. Surely, as a senator, you understand those things.
I'll admit, your methods intrigue me. But I need more than shadows to bring him down.
Oh, we shall have much more than shadows once we are done.
Very well. But make no mistake, I will be the one to bring him down. And what of Skywalker?
As part of this alliance, Padme is asked to visit Maul's home of Dathomir and speak properly, so she announces a break from politics to recover from her recent attack. Palpatine is eager to be rid of her and eagerly agrees, believing she is heading to Naboo. When Padme arrives, she finds Maul waiting for her inside his fortress. He leans over the cauldron his mother used so many years ago. The ancient metal is covered with carved runes that pulse with a faint, unnatural light.
Welcome to Dathomir, Senator Amidala.
I didn't come here to sightsee Maul. What is it you wanted to show me?
Of course. I wanted you to see the power that exists beyond the reach of the Jedi, and beyond Palpatine's imagination. Though he declares himself a master of the dark side, there are things beyond his comprehension.
I'm not a Jedi, Maul. I have no connection to the Force.
This is Dathomir, Padme. Here, the Force bends to more primal, ancient magics.
He picks up a pair of short, curved swords from the altar. Their hilts are dark and intricate, with ancient symbols carved into the blades. They seem to hum faintly with a deep, red glow. He flicks his wrists, and the blades retract into the handles.
Take these blades, for example. They are imbued with Dathomirian magic, attuned to obey your intent. They can strike in ways a normal blade cannot. The power comes not from your connection to the Force, but from the energy of Dathomir itself.
He holds them out to her, the blades gleaming under the blood-red light of the Dathomirian moons.
Here, anything is possible. Feel them, and they will answer.
Padme reaches out and takes the blades. As she grips them, a subtle current tingles up her arms, almost as if the daggers recognize her. She gasps slightly, feeling their weight, somehow both light and powerful.
What? What is this?
A bond. Those weapons don't make you a sorcerer, but they will let you wield Dathomir's magic, if you are willing to embrace its shadows. I can also teach you with some more practical methods to use your magics, ones that do not require Force powers to harness.
Show me what you can do.
Maul chuckles and wastes no time in showing her. Their training consists of Maul taking Padme across the fortress, showing her all the strange substances and ingredients, many native only to Dathomir, that can be used in their spells. While she cannot harness the Force, she can still craft potions, carve runes, and train with her swords. Maul lends his strengths in these endeavors, offering some of his magics to protect her. With these new abilities, Padme now has a chance to strike back at the Senate. While she cannot hit Palpatine directly, she can chip away at his support. She learns to craft different types of potions, which help her in her political career. More than one of Palpatine's supporters now suddenly find themselves in trouble for scandals she created with illusions of them, or accidentally reveals their darkest secrets, thanks to her cloaking potions. On some rare occasions, she even makes use of the potions to take them out of commission entirely. While she basks in these new powers, she still hesitates to use them to kill, and only uses non-lethal poisons. But her sudden success doesn't escape Palpatine's attention, who decides to take her out permanently. As Padme leaves after meeting with several allies, she begins making her way home to plot her next move. But as she leaves the building, she feels a shift in the air, the faintest sound, a glint of metal. She turns just in time to see Aurra Sing, her blaster raised and squeezing a shot. Padme dives to the side and slams against the wall just as the bounty hunter points a blaster at her.
Senator Amidala, your luck runs out tonight. I'm going to enjoy this.
Padme reaches for her swords and flicks them out just as Aurra fires her blaster. She blocks the attack and points her swords at her.
I expected him to send someone, but I didn't think he'd send a coward.
Nice steal. I think I might keep them when we're done.
She lunges forward, her movements shockingly fast and precise. Even Aurra is taken off guard, but as Padme holds her sword, the blades pulse with a red glow. Aurra sidesteps the attack and raises her blaster pistols, firing at her. But Padme is ducking and spinning against the blaster fire, using her swords to deflect each attack as they hum with power. The battle seems to fuel her movements, giving her more strength and agility. The feeling is almost intoxicating as Padme realizes the true power of Dathomirian magic. Growling, Aurra ducks under a sword slash and kicks Padme. She catches the swords as Padme tries to swing at her, then headbutts her. Aurra reaches for her vibroblade and stabs back at her. She manages to score a shallow wound on Padme's side, which causes her to wince. Aurra stabs forward, trying to force her back, and slices her across the arm. Padme drops one of her blades. The bounty hunter rushes forward to try and grab it, but the senator moves faster. She grabs Aura's arm and holds it in place as her other sword falls and takes her hand. The bounty hunter's body hits the ground with a thud, leaving Padme standing over her with her chest heaving. Her expression is a mixture of shock and excitement. Part of her is horrified at what she just did, wondering how she could just kill someone. But at the same time, she can feel the sword runes humming, growing stronger and, by extension, strengthening her. Without another word, she sheathes her swords and heads back to her apartment. Dryden soon visits Padme to check on her. While he's surprised to see her okay, he is pleased to hear what she did, and Maul is also impressed. He now thinks it's time to enact the next phase of their plan. He tells her to bring someone to Dathomir next time, someone she considers trustworthy and whom they can turn into a weapon. As she returns to Dathomir, Padme steps out and tries her best not to wince as Jar Jar stumbles after her. She can think of no one more loyal to her than her Gungan friend. As they descend, she turns and places a hand on Jar Jar's shoulder.
Jar Jar, know that you are one of my oldest and most loyal friends. I'm asking a lot from you. Are you prepared to follow me?
Oh, Padme. You should know Misa always gonna be by your side.
That's good to hear. Now, please, follow me.
As they make their way inside, Padme feels a moment of regret for what she's about to do, but can't bring herself to stop now. She has come so far, and each time she thinks of Palpatine and Vader, her rage only grows. Her swords only fuel this anger as the Night Sister magic slowly corrupts her. But Jar Jar is still a trusted friend, and she doesn't like the thought of betraying him. As they make their way inside the fortress, Maul is waiting for them with a smile.
Ah, you've returned. So, this is your friend?
He is. Jar Jar, please lie down on the table.
Jar Jar looks at the pair uncertainly and seems a bit concerned. but he recognizes the authority in his friend's words. There, Maul begins to channel his powers on him. The Night Sister Ichor begins to float around them in a swirling array of light. The two outsiders look up in surprise, staring at the display. Jar Jar is so fixated on it that he forgets his terror. He begins to rise off the ground as the Ichor envelops him. Jar Jar yelps out, but the Ichor flows through his mouth and body, filling him up and giving him strength. The Gungan's body begins to grow and twist as he's surrounded by the magic. When he at last falls to the ground, Jar Jar's eyes are closed, but his body is now heavily built and powerful. When Maul taps his forehead, Jar Jar's eyes open to reveal a fearsome visage with fierce yellow eyes.
How do you feel?
Powerful.
Maul smiled proudly as he used the same spell Talzin had done to strengthen his brother, Savage. Now, with his capabilities, all that was needed was training. He promises to train Jar Jar and make him the ultimate warrior. In the meantime, Padme will continue sabotaging Palpatine and draw him out. After Aurra Sing fails to kill Padme, the Emperor is now certain that there is something about her, but Padme doesn't seriously retaliate. While she continues her efforts to undermine his allies, she does scale up her efforts. This only worries the Emperor more as he wonders what she's planning. Finally, Padme decides to make her move. She decides that she wants to bring her children to Naboo so they can be raised by her. At first, Obi-Wan protests and cites the danger this might pose. However, Padme remains adamant and offers to let Obi-Wan accompany her. But while he agrees, she secretly leaks this information to Vader and the Emperor, letting them know what she intends. As they remain in her Naboo residence, Padme keeps her kids under careful watch with trusted guards and servants, as well as Obi-Wan. But despite these precautions, they soon feel the chilling presence of Darth Vader. Obi-Wan's hand immediately goes to his lightsaber. Padme's eyes narrow as she slips her hands towards her weapons. Vader soon appears by the doorway, his hands held out.
I have come to talk.
Anakin, we have nothing left to discuss.
The Emperor knows about the children. He wants them under his control, trained in the ways of the dark side. If you let me, I can take you all somewhere safe. To Mustafar.
Go with you? You think we'd go with you? You think we'd trust you?
For once, Padme, I'm trying to save you. You must understand that Palpatine won't stop until you're all dead. Or worse.
You don't think I know that? You don't think I've survived all the threats on my life without you? You think you can come back here after everything you've done and expect forgiveness? Well, that will not happen. The truth is, for all your powers, I've played you as my pawn.
You knew that I would come here. Our children. You used them as bait?
Padme, how could you?
Oh, don't sound so surprised, Annie.
Padme lunges forward, her blades flashing with dark magic, but Vader is faster and blocks her attacks. Seeing this, the senator spins and unleashes another set of attacks, but these aren't unarmed senators or thugs. Vader is a Dark Lord trained in the dark side. He easily blocks her attacks and tries to grab her. Padme just barely twists away. Obi-Wan is momentarily stunned, watching as Padme rains blow after blow on Vader.
I'm ending this once and for all. Either you're with me, or you're in my way.
Obi-Wan hesitates, his lightsaber ignited, but uncertain. Vader takes advantage of his moment of distraction, sweeping his saber towards Padme's legs. She flips back and crosses her weapons in an oncoming attack.
So, you've taken to Dathomirian magic. I can feel it corrupting you, Padme.
As if you're one to criticize someone else about corruption after you've abandoned everything for your power.
She moves with a lethal grace, her daggers slicing through the air in fluid arcs. Vader parries, their weapons sparking and sizzling as they clash. He swings a powerful downward strike, which knocks Padme off her feet. Suddenly, Obi-Wan makes a decision and rushes forward, his lightsaber slicing across Vader's midsection. Sparks begin to fly as he slashes through, but the Dark Lord stabs at him before he can. Obi-Wan moves aside and Padme takes his place. She catches his lightsaber on the curve of her blade and then swings it around and pins it to the ground before kicking him. Obi-Wan rushes forward and shoves Vader away from his weapon. He swings his saber in a few quick arcs, but Vader remains faster and ducks underneath them. When Padme comes at him, Vader grabs her hand and twists it until her sword falls from her grip. Vader snatches it and uses the weapon against Padme. The magical blades spark, sending embers flying everywhere. Obi-Wan tries to intervene but nearly loses his eye from the tip of Vader's blade. With that distraction, Padme rushes at him, letting the magic of her blade flow through her as she rushes at him. However, Vader doesn't have that advantage when he carries the sword. As he moves to block, Padme is faster and the blade slices clean across his chest. Vader gasps and feels the energy sparking around him before Obi-Wan slams him against the wall. His head knocks against it, leaving him slumping forward. But Obi-Wan isn't done. He raises his lightsaber against Padme.
Padme, what have you become? I promised to protect your children, even from you.
I am their mother, Obi-Wan.
Suddenly, the room chills, and an ominous presence fills the air. The doors hiss open, and Palpatine extends his hand out, sending lightning flashing forward and Obi-Wan crashing against the wall.
Tell me, Padme, who do you think you are to challenge me? You might know a few tricks, but you cannot take me alone.
I am not alone.
Emerging from the darkness, Maul steps forward, and beside him is their newest weapon, Darth Jar Jar. His scrawny and clumsy appearance is now replaced with a hulking warrior carrying an axe taller than Palpatine. The Emperor's eyes narrow, then widen in shock before breaking into a laugh.
You must be truly desperate to fall into this. Darth Jar Jar. Ridiculous.
Palpatine's laughter is cut off as Darth Jar Jar steps forward and punches him across the face.
Misa gonna hurt you, sir.
With a snarl, Palpatine's hands flare with lightning, throwing Jar Jar back while Maul leaps forward, his double-sided saber staff spinning as he twists and pivots, trying to cut him down. Padme follows, her swords flashing and swinging wildly at him. The two come from opposite sides, forcing Palpatine to split his attention. This allows Jar Jar to barrel forward down the middle and throw him back. Palpatine's sneer fades as he realizes he's surrounded. He summons a whirlwind of dark energy, throwing Maul back momentarily, who must defend with his lightsaber. But Padme and Jar Jar press in with a coordinated assault. He lashes out with a vicious lightning strike that sears toward Padme, but she raises her daggers, deflecting the bolts. Jar Jar seizes the moment, closing in and striking with relentless precision, forcing Palpatine to split his focus. With Palpatine's attention distracted, Padme reaches into her bag and throws down a potion. Suddenly, she finds herself invisible and attacks Palpatine with a flurry of attacks. For a moment, the Sith Lord is stunned, allowing Maul to rush forward and kick him. Palpatine barely dodges his downward stab just as Padme comes at him again. However, Palpatine is ready and reaches out into the air, grabbing her by the throat. He slams Padme against Maul and then pulls her close.
You are cunning, I will grant you that. But you cannot match my experience.
Padme doesn't respond, but grabs another potion. This time, it's a sickly green one filled with Dathomir ichor. She throws it to the ground behind Palpatine and lets the explosion toss them forward. Palpatine barely avoids Maul's lightsaber as he lands on his feet. Maul and Jar Jar come at him, Jar Jar swinging his axe and Maul whirling around him with his lightsaber. The Emperor can feel the blades missing him by just a hair several times. He waits until Jar Jar slams his axe hard enough to bury it into the ground. Palpatine takes this time to unleash a torrent of lightning against the axe blade, sending electricity coursing through the hulking Gungan and slamming him against the wall. Maul roars and lands a devastating blow that cracks Palpatine's guard, sending him stumbling. Padme drives forward with her enchanted blades, landing a glancing strike that sears through his robes and causes him to reel. Jar Jar, meanwhile, tries to pull his axe free as he watches the duel. Padme notices this and pulls his axe with both hands, sending debris flying at Palpatine. The distraction is enough for Maul to drive his foot into the Emperor's stomach and send him sprawling. Padme is on him immediately, keeping both swords against his throat. Without a moment's hesitation, she decapitates him. At that moment, Obi-Wan starts to get up and looks around. His eyes widen as Padme stands alongside Maul and Jar Jar.
All this for revenge. You truly are lost.
Obi-Wan, believe it or not, I do not want to kill you. But I will if I have to. I ask you this. Will you stand against me?
I must, as a Jedi.
Then I'm sorry. Jar Jar, consider this your final test.
Jar Jar nods as Maul pushes Obi-Wan to his knees. He only looks up and then closes his eyes as Jar Jar brings his axe down. With Obi-Wan dead and the Sith defeated, Padme returns to Coruscant with her children. She reports that Palpatine tragically passed away on his trip to Naboo, but after years of maneuvering and getting rid of potential threats, she is in a strong position and manages to secure the leadership position for herself. But in a surprising move, Padme decides not to abolish the Empire and continues to rule as its first Empress. She takes control of the core regions, but allows Maul to rule the Outer Rim, providing legislature that is favorable to him. Padme retains her benevolent and compassionate image in public, but secretly continues to practice her craft. While neither she nor Jar Jar is Force-sensitive, their knowledge of magic still proves to be useful, and Maul's abilities prove useful as well, especially with Vader. After his defeat, she has Maul perform a similar ritual to Vader, allowing Padme to control and use him as her enforcer. With the galaxy now under her control, she focuses on raising Luke and Leia, grooming them to become her successors in her empire. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.